The following program has been arranged by the Division of Game and Fish.
Here is the story of the Bluegrass State's great outdoors.
This is Kentucky Afield.
Kentucky Afield.
Welcome to Kentucky Afield.
Kentucky Afield.
More than 50 years. And still fit as a fiddle.
This is Kentucky Afield Radio. This is Ron Rohde, Kentucky Afield's first host back in 1953. Now, I'm proud to present Charlie Bagley.
This call may be recorded for training purposes. Well, guess what? I can record calls too. And when they don't measure up to quality standards, I just might share them with all my friends on Facebook. How do you feel about customer service reps when you call various places? We go inside outdoors with two from the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife's call center. Real answers from real people who love the outdoors just like you. Next on Kentucky Afield Radio. Who's ready for a boatload of laughs? Give it up for Funny Sonny!
Thanks. I found it. A use for a life jacket. A pillow! Hey, I'm not gonna wear a life jacket. I know how to swim. How can it hurt you? It's just water.
This chick's hysterical.
Funny Sonny, everyone. She'll be here all week. Maybe. Kentucky conservation officers remind you.
Your life jacket's got your back.
Rick and Mike are best friends, joined at the hip. First it was bikes, then baseball, now boating.
They're also joined at a Safe Boater certification class. In Kentucky, it's the law for boaters 12 through 17 to operate any boat or personal watercraft more than 10 horsepower.
What's next for these two? Well, after a day on the lake, much better odds they'll both be coming home. Better odds for your kids, too.
To learn more, log on to boat-ed.com. Welcome to Kentucky Afield Radio. My name is Charlie Bagman, and my special guests today are what's known as technical difficulties. You ever had something that wouldn't work? A blender, iPhone, golf club? You just want to take a hammer to it? I have a mixing board that's like that. Fortunately, this is a talk show, and we can get away with some over-compressed microphones. The term radio people use is, it sounds muddy. Hopefully, what we will say will make up for that. I'm in the studio with two folks from the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Information Center to discuss frequently asked questions that folks around Kentucky have for summer fun. Now, where I have three mics, Lisa Tolliver and Phillip Williams, only two work, and I have one of those. So the two of you need to sort of honey up to that one microphone when you talk.
Oh, my word.
I hate to do that to you, but I don't know what the story is with these electronics.
You're not right.
You probably
She's
never heard this.
I'm agreeing.
You've never heard this, Lisa, but I've told you a couple times, if I've got some time to kill in a show, I'll do emails from Lisa.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll have the news releases that you send, and so
that's right.
I pick a few of those. Nice to have the real deal on the show.
Oh, good to be here.
And Phillip Williams.
Good to be here.
I get the feeling customer service takes on a new face, a new voice, a new personality when you answer the phone.
I don't know why.
You are a gifted individual when it comes to doing voices, impersonations, comedy. Do you ever do that for folks that call in?
Every now and then I will say something like, well, okay, don't fall off your horsey while you're out there fishing.
So that's Duke Wayne.
Right. And if you ever get a presidential voice, that's probably Phillip, too.
Well, now listen, I'm running from something. I don't know what I'm running for, but I'm running from something.
Yeah, we wanted to talk today about frequently asked questions that the Department of Fish and Wildlife's call center gets. The first question I have is, do you have a list of frequently asked questions on your webpage?
Yes.
Yes.
So that is easily found. That might cut down the number of calls that you get. If they would people would go at fw.ky.gov and just check, well, here's what I want to know. Let's see if it's already listed.
There's also a search engine, a little search area on our website. So if there's a question or a category or a subject, just go ahead and type that in, hit your enter button, and you'll find a lot of information there.
I know you do a good job, and I know it's a thankless job. But as far as customer service is in the United States today, well, you can call the cable company, or you can call the credit card company, cell phone company, and a lot of times you're just going to come away with some aggravation.
Right.
Do you all learn from that? Because you're all human, too. You're citizens, too.
Right. Well, what you'll normally get, you always get a live person, so that's different than you'll get at a lot of different customer service, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of it's press this button if you want A, B, or C. Then I have a feeling, though, they really want to keep a database of how many calls do we get on various subjects. And so the keypads let them know that. I think you could do it, though, just one person answering the phone and say, how can I help you?
Possibly.
It's so simple. I'm glad the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife still does that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at the number of people who call and actually are surprised that there is a live person, answering the phone. They're used to those computer-generated, automated systems that you have to push 1,000 numbers to get what you want. They're just excited to talk to a live person.
Are you just phone operators? Really, you've got a large role.
No, we try to answer the questions first. When they call and they ask, how do I get my HIP number for dove hunting or goose hunting or whatever, that we can share. If they have a computer, we can share how to go to it on our webpage, or we can do it for them. If they call about other information, if we can't answer the question, then a lot of times we'll take their number, name and number, and call them back after we find the answer. If they call up and ask for a specific person, then we transfer them or give them a number. If that person works out in the field or whatever, we give them a number for it.
Our first job is to try to not only take the frustration off maybe some of our department members who are maybe getting a lot of phone calls, but take the frustration off the customer. We understand They don't want to be transferred to 3 different people. They just want the answer. And if we have it, we're definitely going to give it to them, because that's our role, is to kind of be the front line and answer as many questions as we can.
I called the commissioner's office last week when I was preparing for this show, and I talked to the secretary there who answered, and I said, what are you going to do if somebody calls and wants to talk to the commissioner? Let's go all the way to the top before we go to the program level to try to get this resolved. And they say, well, we'll call them back, but we do want to handle this at the level where the problem occurred. Let's say you're trying to get an answer on my fishing license has a smudge on it when it came out. Who do I talk to get a new one of those? You wouldn't go to the commissioner.
No.
So what is the protocol for?
Well, with something like that, we can tell them how to go to our website and reprint their license free of charge. And we just walk them right through it. If that doesn't satisfy them, then we can transfer them back to licensing and let them talk to them.
One thing that can gripe a person, I don't know, it happens to you when you call places, they'll read something verbatim. Every now and then I'll say, go ahead and put that in your own words. It's okay, you don't have to read it verbatim.
Right.
And it just gets annoying. You read what people have told you to say. Is that the case with you all, or do you all more inclined just to have conversations?
We're more conversational style of the information center, and everybody has their own style of speech and to get the information across, and it just depends on who you get that day. And everybody's up there is pleasant and is trying to help you, but maybe you'll get Philip and he'll talk in a in an accent, or you just never know with Philip.
You might catch Philip.
I don't do that. I don't do that a whole lot, but what I do is if I'm trying to look up something for somebody, and the other folks in the info center probably does it too, I continue to talk while I'm bringing up the computer, and I ask them a question, or I'll say something, or whatever. That way they won't say, are you there?
Yeah.
Did I lose you? Are you there? And so I continue to try to just have a conversation. The main thing that I try to do is treat them like I want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an example. I keep bringing up things that annoy me, because I know if it annoys me, it annoys you too, and everybody else has ever called a customer service line. But you'll call and say, for example, when is squirrel season? your next answer should be those dates.
Right.
But instead, sometimes, for example, you could hear something just totally off the wall, like, well, is the hunter 16, or does the hunter have hunter education? What's that have to do with the dates?
Right.
Do you try to keep on track, or do you sometimes veer off?
Sometimes it's a simple answer and you can answer it, but we also like to follow up a lot of times with letting them know that information is available online too. We'll give them the dates and then say, that information is available online if you have any more questions or if you want another date. We try to keep our seasons up to date, so we'll answer the question that they ask and then maybe give them a little bit more so they can discover a little bit more about the season itself.
Frequently asked questions from key folks who answer the phone when you dial the Department of Fish and Wildlife. Irate phone calls and more next after the break. I'm Charlie Baglin. You're listening to Kentucky Afield Radio. We're back on Kentucky Afield Radio. My name is Charlie Baglin, and here today to prove what many have long thought impossible: finding kind, nice, human, considerate customer service representatives that you talk to when you call someplace and ask a question. The Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Information Center, 2 of their staff are with me here in the studio. Phillip Williams and Lisa Tolliver, the center supervisor, discussing summertime frequently asked questions. And where are my manners? May I offer the 2 of you a refreshing beverage?
No,
I'm good.
Are you set, Philip? Set, Lisa?
I'm good.
You brought something yourself.
She brought her own drink.
I'll bring my own.
Yeah.
Irate customers. Do you get any irate customers? Or ever? Do you?
Yes.
You're making a face.
Oh, it's a good one, yeah. Sometimes we get folks that I don't know if they have tried talking to somebody local or they have called up to Fish and Wildlife and didn't get what they wanted, or they sent in for something and it didn't get there on time. I've got a deer on my property and I want it taken care of right then, right now. And so you try to take and I had a gentleman one time said nobody could help him or would help him. I said, well, give me your name and address and I'll send the stuff to you. He never would tell me his name. I said, sir, I can't help you if you don't give me your name and address. Yeah. And so you try to direct the conversation into your level of trying to help them, because everybody, including myself, sometimes we get irate. We say things. Let's see what I can do, and if I can't do anything, then I will take your number and your name, and I will get the answer or get a hold of somebody, and they will give you a call. But you got to have a little patience with us, because we're here in Frankfort. Most of all those folks is halfway across the state or whatever.
Sure.
And you just never know what someone's been through that day or what they've already dealt with when they call, or even what we've dealt with that day. So we try to make sure that we're on our best, kind of putting our best foot forward. And if they do call irate, we just try to figure out what's the problem, get them maybe calm down a bit, and then try to figure out what they need so we can help them along. We want to make their day better, not worse.
Yeah. When they hang up the phone, they said, I'm glad I called up there. Hey, they helped me out a lot. And I have folks from all over the country, believe it or not, they'll call and they'll ask for me. Yeah. And whatever. Hey, well, you helped me the last time. I just know that you could help me this time. It's not that I'm better than anybody else in the info center. It's just that I took a little time, and that's a lot of times that's what it takes. Mm-hmm. Just a little time. And if they need a hunting guide or a fishing guide, or if they need something, then we get it in the mail to them as soon as we can. And because, like I said earlier, I want them to feel like I want to feel.
One thing, any customer where you want to know, let's say you want to know sandhill crane hunting season. Somebody might say, why do we have a season on cranes? That may be above your pay level.
Right.
It's nice every now and then to talk to somebody in the field, did the study, put the numbers together, and assess the pros and cons.
Right.
Is that the type of call that you will forward to the biologist in charge or the law enforcement?
We'll determine what they need, and they really want to talk to the individual that's responsible for those type of seasons. Then we'll forward them on, and our biologists are really good about talking to people and explaining things to people and letting them know why certain things are the way they are. And they're very, knowledgeable on those subjects, and they're really helpful when it comes to that. And they'll return phone calls or answer phone calls when they come in. They're just really good about doing that.
Right. If they're out in the field and that person calls and gets a recorder voice message, they leave their name and number on there. That biologist will call them back when he gets back in office and help them to get the information that they need. And a lot of that information's on our website, on our webpage too.
So you can help yourself a little bit by just going to the web first.
Right. You're going to be amazed at the amount of information that's on there. Sometimes you have to dig a little bit, but it's on there.
Not everybody has the web.
Right.
Not everybody has access.
Not everybody feels comfortable.
Yeah, it's just easier to call you.
And sometimes they just want to talk to Philip.
Who gets the most comments on your staff?
We have 6 people on our staff.
And who gets the most calls? Do you ever get requests? Now I want to talk to that guy with the funny voice.
Philip is probably the one that gets requested the most.
Well, congratulations, Philip. I'm sorry to take you away from your fans.
Yeah. It's just amazing that folks will call back 2 or 3 years down the road and say, "You remember me?"
Yep.
And at first I don't recognize the voice, but when they start talking a little bit, then yes, it comes back and
Is it fair to say, just like a Kentucky Afield call-in show, that a lot of people don't really care what the answer is? They just want to talk to somebody. They just want to say, "I talked to Frankfurt. I talked to the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and I'll let them know my story." Or I told them about the turkey I got. They may not really be interested in what I'm having to say, but I told them the story.
Yeah.
We do get those calls. We also get emails that, people tell their story and send us pictures of harvested turkeys they get, or the deer they got, or the first deer their son or daughter got. We get those images too. So people just want to share their story. And sometimes it is through a phone call. Sometimes it's through our email.
So email. Mm-hmm. So there's other ways to reach you beyond calling the number.
Because we're only there 8 to 4:30. So if it's after those hours, and that's Eastern time, if it's after those hours, and you're not around 8 to 4:30, or you're working and can't get to a phone, there's always a way to contact us through email. It's info.center@ky.gov.
Is that the next morning you get back to them, or what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if somebody's on a Saturday morning, it's going to be Monday morning.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It'll be Monday morning.
What are the most popular questions that you're going to get this late spring? Let's talk about Memorial Day forward. What are the questions you'll be getting?
Yeah, it'd be fishing, what our fish are doing in the lakes, the trout stream programs where folks take and go and fish for trouts, fishing in neighborhood lakes when they're going to deliver catfish. Folks will be calling to ask about the free fishing weekend.
When is free fishing weekend?
First Saturday and Sunday of every June.
They have to fall back to back in the month of June.
The first Saturday and Sunday of June.
So this year it's June 4th and June 5th.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Free fishing days.
Right.
So is that a Saturday, Sunday, you don't need a license?
Correct.
Don't need a license, don't need a trout permit.
Nice. But you do have to abide by all the other rules.
Have to abide by the rules, and if you go to somebody's property, you have to have permission.
And is this for in-state residents only?
In-state, out-of-state.
Anyone, it's our public waters, so in-state and non-residents.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty good deal. Mm-hmm. Want to give fishing a try, or try it because you haven't done it in a while?
Right.
See if you want to get back into it that weekend. You can forego the spending of $20 and try it for free.
Right.
Free fishing days.
And in some places, our aquatic education has fishing tournaments for the youth during that free fishing weekend.
We called them fishing derbies when I was growing up.
Right.
You still hear that term?
Every now and then.
Philip talked about the trout stocking and the catfish stocking. All that can be found online too. When we have the dates available for those different stockings, we put them online. So if you're looking forward to catching trout in a particular body of water, you can go online and look under our fishing category and find out when those stockings will take place.
What do you say when people want to know if they can keep wildlife as pets? Is it against state law to care for something that appears abandoned?
Well, we have a list of rehabilitators you can find on our webpage, or you can give us a call, and they have a permit from us to rehabilitate those bunny rabbits or take them in and let them grow till they get big enough and then turn them loose. The robin eggs, I usually tell folks, if you see the nest, put it back up in the nest and leave it alone.
Just remember, not every animal that appears orphaned is actually orphaned. Their mama may have put them there to kind of keep them in a safe place, and you just ran across them.
Right.
Their mama's probably nearby or coming back, particularly like baby deer, fawns. Their moms will put them away while they go and do their thing, but then they'll come back. So you may find a baby deer that you think has been abandoned, but its mama knows where it is.
Well, not only that, the mama's probably looking dead at you,
right?
And you can't see her.
And you don't want to get in the way between a mama and her baby.
Darren, you're in Frankfurt, and well, he's out here looking at my situation, and so they go ahead and do what you said not to do. What are the consequences there?
Then that'd be left up to the officer, because it's against the law to pick up wildlife.
Maybe this show today will save you a call sometime this summer. We're answering many of the most popular spring and summer questions with the Information Center representatives that you hear on the other end of the phone line when you call the Department of Fish and Wildlife. Another half hour to go, plus our fishing report after the break. You're listening to Kentucky Afield Radio. Bagland back on Kentucky Afield Radio. If you have ever visited the Salado Wildlife Education Center, sort of like Kentucky's Native Animal Zoo, it's in Frankfurt. Here's a part of Salado you can have with you wherever you are. The Animal Tracks audio tour talks about the habitats and the wild animals of Kentucky. It's right on your smartphone, or it's right on your computer. Just go to fw.ky.gov and click the Salado Wildlife Education Center tab and look for the Animal Tracks audio tour. Make tracks with Animal Tracks, and next time you're at Salado, come prowl a while. It is time now for our fishing report.
Hi, this is John Williams with the Fish Report for Southeast Kentucky. At Lake Cumberland, our krill clerks report fishing's really slowed down the last few weeks. We had a lot of rain, jumped the lake up, and there's a lot of debris floating, so watch out for that. Striped bass fishing and walleye fishing's been very slow. There have been a few bass caught, largemouth spots and smallmouths on swim baits and also on top water. Probably your best bet on Lake Cumberland is trying bluegill and channel cats. We are seeing some cats caught on chicken livers and night crawlers, bluegill being caught on worms and some crickets. Some very nice channel catfish in Cumberland, so those are always a good bet during the summertime. Elsewhere in the district, catfish have been stocked at Brickyard Ponds in Knox County, and trout will be stocked in some of the Daniel Boone streams next week. Inline spinners are always a good bet for those newly stocked trout. And as always, good luck and be safe.
This is Tom with your fishing report from the Northeast. Caverton Lake is back down to summer pool levels and should be pretty busy this weekend with some big tournaments up on the lake. Bass fishing is a little on the slower side. Most reports I have seen or heard have been slow fishing jigs and plastics, focusing on what weed beds are out there and, of course, woody structure. Crappie have moved back off the spawn, but you can still pick up a few brush pile hopping on the main lake with jigs and minnows. Anglers up at Grayson are catching some catfish on jugs in the upper sections of the lake from Newfoundland to Caney, and hybrids are being caught pretty much all over the place, but focus on the old roadbed in the Deer Creek area and, of course, the Bruin area of the lake. Bass and crappie have also slowed back a little bit on Grayson. Bass are following shad in around 10 to 15 feet of water, and crappie are holding tight to timber. Finally, this weekend is free fishing weekend in Kentucky. It's a great time to take someone out new to the sport. You good luck out on the water.
This is Rob Rold in the Northwestern Fishery District. Rough River Lake's 9 feet above summer pool and muddy. Snow Lynn just got to summer pool a couple of days ago. Things are just starting starting to pick up there a little bit. White bass are scattered, but anglers are catching them on spinners early and late in the day, especially fishing the main lake points and on the flats. Catfish are good in Upper Nolan River, some wax on up to Sportsman's Paradise, Cane Run area. Catching them on liver, cut shad, and also some of the commercially prepared baits. Malone, still 3 or 4 feet above pool. It's high, muddy, also a lot of debris floating in that lake. Carpenter Lake, again, anglers doing well, still on bluegill and red ear there. So that's an update from the Northwestern Fishery District. Please remember, be safe when you're on the water. Always wear your life jackets.
Let me ask, do you have a license? Driver's license, sure. Maybe a license to practice your own profession? A lot of different types of licenses out there. Many serve to show that you are indeed certified to practice. Others basically are revenue generators. How about that fishing license? Do you need higher education to use it? No, actually you don't, but it is the law if you're 16 or over. I gave my wife her very first fishing license this spring, and she was quick to announce, "But I don't fish." I said, "So what? You've always been interested in good habitat, conservation education, quality law enforcement to protect our wildlife and wild outdoors. Now you're a stakeholder in that." She hasn't looked at a fishing license the same way since. You can buy your own online at fw.ky.gov or at many places you shop. A fishing license, they really are about far more than fishing.
How was the wedding?
I cried like a baby.
Good thing you wore your life jacket.
They say you can drown in a teaspoon of water. Makes you think twice about that next cup of coffee.
Honey, I'll be outside washing the car.
Life jacket.
Before you break a sweat, before your next sad movie, wear your life jacket.
Put on your life jacket and help with the dishes.
Life jackets. You know when they're a stupid idea. You should know when they're not. Kentucky conservation officers remind you your life jacket's got your back. Back on Kentucky Afield Radio, my name is Charlie Baglin in our second half hour, trying to take this hour to address some of the more common questions that Kentuckians have for boating, fishing, wild birds, sundry other things when they call the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. For many, having that fishing license is where outdoor fun begins. The disability license, it's a great thing if you're eligible. But, Phillip Williams and Lisa Tolliver, you can't just walk up with your $5 and buy one.
No, it depends on what agency you get your disability payments through. We accept Federal Social Security Administration disability payments, State Workers' Compensation Board, Kentucky Teacher Retirement System, United States Railroad Board, and Veterans Administration.
So this is permanent disability.
It could be that you're getting it temporarily, but as long as you're getting a disability payment. And if you are, then you would get information from the source. Let's say the Social Security Administration, you would need what's called a benefits verification letter from them, and then you would send that in to us. We'll get you out a disability authorization card. It's a little green card that will mail to your home. It's free of charge, and you'll use that card that has a specific number just for you to go to any local vendor, and that's how you get your disability license.
Sounds like more trouble than it's worth until you look at the numbers.
Right.
For $5, tell me about the license that you actually get.
You'll get the sportsman's license, plus any additional deer tags. So you'll get that same sportsman's license, which is your combination hunting and fishing, your spring and turkey permits, your deer permits, your trout permit, and your migratory bird permit.
And Kentucky waterfowl, and your fall turkey permits.
You got it going on.
Yeah.
So it's a good $5 deal. That's the senior license is the same. Is that the same as the senior license if you're 65 or above?
Yes. It's the same one. So if you're getting disability, right now you're getting the disability card, but once you turn 65, you no longer have to worry about having that authorization card because you get the same license by just showing proof of age.
How about summer camps? That's got to be a good one.
Oh, that's coming up.
Yeah.
What are the questions you get about camps?
We get a lot of questions about camp.
Yes, we do.
And so talking about transportation, when you sign your child up for camp, you'll get a letter in the mail that tells you where your child needs to meet the bus to go to camp and what day and what time, and all the information's lined out. But what happens if you lose that letter? Well, this year they're doing something different. They're putting that information online. So if you lose your letter, just go online and you can find that under summer camp. So they're doing a little something different this year to kind of, things happen. Mm-hmm. You lose letters, you misplace them, or you just get all in a frantic that week before camp and you just can't find what you were looking for. It's a fun week for the kids, and they get to learn all about fishing and
like their hunter education, boater education. They get to paddle a boat. They get to fish. They get to swim. They get to learn about animal tracks, tree identification, archery. It's a 1 week.
I've heard it called the week that lasts a lifetime. It really does. The things you learn, you'll keep using forever more. So it's Saturday, and parents are thinking about camp next week. Is there a spot online that they can find the particular information about their school and their week, even though they can't reach you because it's a weekend?
Right. You just go to our website and go under the Education tab. And under the Education tab, there's a drop-down menu, and you'll click on summer camps from there. And that's going to take you to the page all about summer camp. Each one of our 3 camps that are available, actually 4 if you count Venture Camp.
Right.
Yeah.
So each 4 of our camps that are available and all the information, and give you a list of camp dates if you forget, when my child is going to camp. It's listed by county, so it all depends on what county your child's school is in, is what camp date you would go to.
Talk about the My Profile page. Is it just somebody else wanting to get a lot of my information?
Your page is only accessible to you. You would put in, it's going to ask for your last name, the last for your social, and your date of birth. Then it's going to pull up just your page, and it's going to show you the license you have available now, and it's going to give you the option to reprint it. That's where you're going to take your harvest information for your HIP survey for your migratory bird. It's going to have all your elk information. If you applied for an elk tag, it's going to have all that information in there. It's going to have all your harvest records in there. And it's going to be the place where you would go to reprint your license and to reprint your disability card if you have one. And if you've linked your hunter education card to your My Profile, you can find that there too and reprint that if you lose your hunter education card.
Is there a question you all dread? What's the hardest subject really to answer?
I find law enforcement questions hard to answer.
Yeah, that would probably be the...
And sometimes there is no answer. Say, my cousin Jake, he's got, acreage here that he's got too many deer on there. How many deer can you really have in an acre down here in Bell County?
Well,
and I don't know if those answers really exist.
Our biologists during the wintertime or whatever do a survey just like the wildlife biologists do, just like the fishery biologists do a creel survey, and they go through and that's where we come up with our zones, our different zones. And so just like Bell County or whatever, that'd be in a zone 4. They consider there not as many deer in a zone 4. They might all be on that one property, but there are not as many deer as a zone 4 as there is a zone 1. So when it comes down to something like that, then we let them talk to a biologist, and they can explain it a whole lot better than we can. And we try to get the best answer, that we can, and if we can't, well, then we give them a telephone number or email that they can contact.
Right. And we have, if you have a question about specifically your county or your area that you're in and the wildlife that are in that area, we have numbers for private lands biologists that deal with just specific districts. So if you have a particular question about your county, then we could get you that number, or you can find it online, of that private lands biologist that deals with that area, and it's going to be more familiar with your own area.
Summertime means bears are going to be out roaming around, doing bear stuff. So someone's going to call you and say, hey, got a bear on my property, can I shoot it?
No.
No.
No. What we try to do is we tell them what the biologist has told us and what's on our webpage. If you see a bear out there, keep your garbage in. Tell the neighbors. If the bear is causing damage to your property, we have biologists that we can send an email to, and they'll get a hold of them after we get their information of where and when and what telephone and number to call and what it's done. We tell folks that if they see a bear, they walk out in the front porch, they see a bear, doesn't necessarily mean that he'll stay around there.
Right.
Sometimes you see one, you might not ever see it again for a long time.
He's just passing through.
Yeah.
You do a Yogi Bear imitation? You can.
But anyway.
If you see a bear, you're probably not going to see it for very long. Get your garbage up. And
right, unless it's in the garbage all the time or a
it's looking
dumpster.
for a quick meal.
What I tell folks is if you happen to look out the door and you see a bear, you got a remote for your car horn. Click that car horn.
Yeah.
Beat a pan.
Right.
That's smart. That's smart.
And then, if you continue to have problems and everything, then we call us back. We'll get hold of either the game warden, because they're in that county or they know specifically where that area is, then they'll follow up on it.
Yeah, don't get us wrong. If you see a bear, you're probably going to be scared of it just like anybody else, but they're also going to be scared of you.
Right.
So they want to get out of an area, and you want them out of the area. So you both want the same thing. Right. It's just a matter of how do you achieve that?
Let's talk about conservation officers. If somebody just has to talk to the game warden and they don't have the local officer's number, is 25 alert still an option?
Yes.
So that's the poaching hotline.
Right.
It's answered by a live person, though. It's one of the KSP. It's answered by a KSP dispatcher.
KSP State Police.
Kentucky State Police, right. And the Kentucky State Police also dispatch our officers. So any number we give is going to be to a KSP dispatch office, and they dispatch our officers to a certain location or to contact a certain person. So the numbers we give out are those dispatch numbers, which also can be found online too.
And they can be found in their phone book. Other county, they can look in their phone book, see Kentucky State Police, and they call that post.
So you're calling the state police if you need a fish and wildlife conservation officer.
Right. They dispatch for us now.
Do you have the option of calling the officer directly?
We don't have their direct lines available. We don't even have them.
No.
So that's the easiest way, and they can keep a note of it, and that's the easiest, quickest way to do it. Now, if it's an emergency, and let's say our Fish and Wildlife Conservation Officer is not available, because they don't work 24/7, there's an officer there. If you call that dispatch office, they know something's going on, and they can send somebody.
Right. Or we can give them the captain of that district.
Right. But calling that number, just make sure you get a live person and you're able to tell them what's going on.
The music is playing, and back with our final few frequently asked questions from the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Information Center representatives. I'm Charlie Baglin. You're listening to Kentucky Afield Radio. We're back on Kentucky Afield Radio with our final few minutes with the questions most asked by folks who call the Frankfort headquarters for the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. One maybe that they should ask, but they really don't, because fall seems so far away. But if you're a hunter and you need your hunter education card, September 1st is way closer than you think. Hunter education, get it while it's hot. Get it this summer so that you're not scrambling come September 1st. Mr. Williams, where do you start?
You go to our webpage under Education and click on Hunter Education. Just scroll down to Instructor Classes. You can click on there and then put your zip code in there and find the one closest to you, if not in your county. You have to register online now. So you want to go online. If you find one that you want to see or go to, you can take, and it'll have the dates. It'll have how many spots are left open. You click View Event, and it'll tell you all that information, what time, where, who's going to be putting it on, and then there's a green box up to the right you can take and click on it and register.
How many hours are the classes? How many days?
It's normally 10.
You can do a one-day course that completes the entire hunter education course, but that's going to be an all-day thing, usually from like 8 to 5 on a Saturday. Now, if you can't do a Saturday, or a Saturday doesn't work in your schedule, or just can't get into one, we have other options available that maybe are broken into either 2 days or 3 days,
right.
2 or 3 hours at a time, that maybe take place on a Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night.
Or Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday.
Yeah.
We also have where you can take the course online and then go to a range day.
So you're spending a few bucks there, you can do it free the other way.
Right.
Our face-to-face classes, our classroom classes are free. Everything's provided that you need. You just need to show up, learn, and complete the course.
Right.
If you do it online, like Philip said, you can only complete the first half of the course online, and it's fee-based. And then you would need to complete the range day course.
Right.
And that's free, but you still need to find a course, register, and actually complete it to complete your hunter education card.
We have a 1-year exemption for $5. The youth can take about 15 questions, true or false, and after taking the questions, complete the information, print it out, and keep it with their license and their permits, and that will give them 1 year to take the hunter education course.
There you go.
It's only a one-time thing, though, so once you do it once, you can't repeat it.
Born on or after
January the 1st, 1975.
So if that's the case, if my math is right, you would be around 41 or so. If you think it only applies to 12-year-olds or 16-year-olds, you're wrong.
Right.
11 and under does not apply.
Okay.
They don't need it because they don't need license or permits. 12 and above do. And so they have to have a hunter education card unless they're a Kentucky resident landowner or spouse or dependent children hunting up on their own property. Then they don't need that because they don't need license and permits.
One thing we can talk about is this going to happen. Nuisance wildlife. A skunk or a raccoon in your basement or your attic, your garage. What do you do?
The one thing that people think is that we actually remove those wildlife, and we don't. We don't come out and remove a skunk or a possum or anything that's made at home underneath your dwelling. But we do have a list of permitted nuisance control operators, and they can find that online or give us a call, and we'll tell them a couple of numbers to call, and they can call them and have them come out to the house. Now, they are independent contractors, so there's going to be a fee involved, but we don't have the staff or really, we just can't come out and do it.
They do have a permit from us to do that.
And we have that list on our website under the button, the wildlife button. If you click on that, you'll get a drop-down menu, and it'll say nuisance wildlife, and you just go to that page, and then you can put in your county and the species of animal you're having a problem with, and a list of permitted operators will pop up there.
Philip, summertime's that got to be considered the light season for the Department of Fish and Wildlife?
A little bit, but folks are still wanting to know what the dates are in the fall for hunting and trapping and for deer and squirrel and rabbit, stuff like that. They want to know about the quota hunts coming up in September. They're wanting to know results from the elk lottery. There's all kind of stuff. Folks call us. They want a map and for a certain WMA or whatever, which they can print off themselves on our webpage. So there's a lot of things going on, even though sometimes it slows down just a little. There's folks calling up and said, hey, I want to renew my Kentucky Afield magazine. Can you help me with that, and whatever, and we'll help them with that, or we'll tell them how to go to our webpage. So there's all kind of stuff happening in the summertime too.
Right, and those are the time, you got your bats are out. People wanting to know about bats, and they want to know about birds. And our questions don't always revolve around hunting and fishing. Sometimes there's the non-game species that we have to answer questions about too. And
let's close with this. Maybe I could have opened with it, but didn't. Your name has been drawn for the elk draw. And then your next question's, what do I do now? Is there a way to go to find out those answers?
There is. On our website, again, Like I said, you can find a lot of stuff on our website. What you'll want to do is go to the My Profile button. So if you go to our website, the home page on the left-hand side, there's a blue button. It says My Profile. Click on that. Put in the information it asks for. It's going to bring up your page. And on the right-hand side of that page, there's a button that says Elk Information.
That's right.
And you click on that. It's going to tell you if you were drawn. If you were, what's your next steps, what you need to do. The summer is the time you start studying before your hunt becomes available in the fall or maybe winter.
So your work's cut out for you already.
There's always something to do.
No. We even have folks that accidentally called us by mistake.
But, since they got us on the phone, they'll ask us a question.
Yeah, that would be good. What number are you similar to? I thought it was called...
Division of Water is one of them.
Division of Water.
Right.
Public housing, we get calls for that, too.
And I've had,
you could have a field day with this.
I've had 2 or 3 calls want to talk to somebody in a penitentiary. And
so even if it's a wrong number, we can still help them.
I've learned something.
Well, I've learned a lot myself. Well, I certainly thank the two of you for coming out.
It's good to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
That number to call is 1-800-858-1549. You can also Google Kentucky Fish and Wildlife, and it should be the first thing that pops up. Meanwhile, we're out of time. This is Charlie Baglin inviting you to join us in a week, and we'll go inside outdoors again, right here on Kentucky Afield Radio.